So something that I'm looking forward to with having Ramaswamy and Musk head the Department of Government Efficiency is massive amounts of deregulation. One trend that I'm seeing with people is that people are losing confidence in the idea of a free market. And and a case in point, I had a discussion with a gentleman in Australia where he was complaining about very high housing prices in Australia. If you dig deeper in that situation, to build more housing was an act of parliament over there. They constrained the builders from building new housing because it was a highly regulated market in that country. If housing prices are high, builders it would signal to builders to build more housing, right? Because you would have a higher profit margin, so that in theory all else equal, so that when you have high housing prices like you do here in the state of Florida, you see houses and apartments going up everywhere, because that the price is a signal to the producers to produce more. The problem is that we have so much market intervention. We have the Federal Reserve, which sets the price for currency. That's a price control. You have so much cronyism. Case in point, here in the United States, when they passed Obamacare, certain fast food chains were exempt from that regulation, whereas their competitors were not and had to endure the higher labor costs as a result. We have to get rid of the cronyism, and I'm hoping that with this appointments with Ramaswamy and Musk, that would go a long way to doing that. That would we would have a massive amount of deregulation, in that the market would actually be able to function properly to provide you know appropriate human interaction. I've said it before, that in principle, that government force, distorts relationships, and I think that this is something that what's his name? There was a Russian KGB agent that defected to the West. I can't remember his name. It starts with a B, but the name escapes me at the moment. But anyway, he talked about how this is part of the demoralization of America. That is when relationships don't function properly precisely because of government regulation. I'm looking forward to massive amounts of deregulation in our economy, so that our economy functions properly, so that people can see that capitalism indeed works. Another danger, and a lot of people see this coming as well, and I've said this before, is that there is an impending massive recession that we are overdue for here in the United States and around the world. That's driven by demographic pressures, but also because of over 100 years of central banking that has also caused this problem. The elites may try to cause this under the Trump presidency to discredit the populist movement in the United States, but also this would discredit the idea, the principle of a free market. I've also made the argument that a free market is very much a moral issue. Um, how economically free you are is a good barometer about how free you are in general. A free country has a free market. When a country is more socialist, it's a less free country. The Soviet Union, for example, collapsed for a reason. As Ludwig von Mises pointed out, when you have a controlled economy, in the case of communism, prices do not get to act like indicators. Prices are an indicator that indicates what where goods should be allocated, how resources should be allocated in their production. The Soviet Union collapsed in part because it was so inefficient economically. They just couldn't compete with other industries around the world. Their exports they couldn't export because it was so inefficient. Chandeliers that were so heavy that they couldn't hang on a ceiling because the producers were trying to use up all the materials to to demonstrate politically that they were being, quote, productive. So one thing that I really want to do, and as I get more involved politically, I want to emphasize the importance of a free market, economy. Deregulation will grow confidence in a free market, in individual freedom as well, and that a free market works when relationships are not distorted, relationships are allowed to work properly so that we get more proper relationships in the economy. And in a deregulated environment, companies are rewarded and punished appropriately, in not acting like special interests where they're exempt from certain laws that they lobbied to create.